Just want to start off by saying, listen, congratulations to the guys. You know, as I just told them, sometimes you don't get to pick the formula on how to win. And maybe sometimes you think the game's going to play out a certain way, plays out a little different. You know, we didn't particularly have a very good fourth quarter there, but found a way to make a play at the end of the game. Obviously, Brian with the huge block, phenomenal job by him. You know, but listen, the things we did well, obviously our defense, you know, pretty much controlled the entire game until the last quarter there. They started to move the ball a little bit, and obviously had a couple of chunk plays. But overall, obviously very happy with the defense in terms of the way we stopped the run. You know, overall, you know, Drew Lock ended up being their leading rusher. That's something we got to look at, something that's kind of hit us a few times this year with the long quarterback scrambles. We got to examine that a little bit. But as far as their actual running game goes, the two running backs combined for 53 yards, and that was a huge part of why we thought we could win this game today, and it's a huge part of why we won the game. You know, we got to get some things cleaned up. I thought our offense and our special teams had one of the worst halves of maybe the worst half of the year in the first half. We turned around and made some plays there in the second half, and obviously it's kind of ironic that we end up winning the game on a special teams play because we were having one of our worst days in recent memory. So, but again, great job of finding a way to win. It's never easy to win in this league, and so at least, you know, we come out on the road. We respond from last week. We get a W and go home with a win and try to figure out some of these other things we got to get figured out. Yeah, listen, he's got a left hand that they're looking at. We'll kind of see what's going on with that. I really don't have any other information than that. They're going to do all the scans and the X-rays and all that, so we'll kind of play that by ear. But you know, when he dove, when he made a phenomenal effort on his part to try to, you know, keep our drive going and get a first down there, just an unselfish player. Diving over the top there. He came down, and I think he tried to put his hand down and brace himself, and I think he just hurt his hand a little bit. So we'll see what they say.
He said it was a concussion too. Is it?
Yeah, I also believe he might be in the concussion protocol. I got to confirm that. But right now, I was just really talking more about his hand. He may be in the concussion protocol as well. We'll see what happens there.
And it's his left was announced as right.
It was his left hand.
Rizzi, the cameras caught a impassioned exchange between you and Hayball after that punt return that got called. Just kind of
That's what you're calling it, a passionate exchange? A passionate exchange. Well, listen, I'm passionate about everything. And listen, everybody has a job to do. Everybody has a 1/11th to do. You guys that follow our team know that I'm a big accountability guy, and that was a big part of our game plan today, and he wasn't executing the game plan. So I'm gonna say this. His last punt was outstanding, and it really helped us. Actually, I think his last two punts, second to last punt in particular, was really, really good. Pitting them back, didn't get any return yards. That's really what we were trying to do all day. Our first three punts weren't good enough, and so that passionate exchange, I let him know that that's exactly how I felt. So it probably came across a little bit more than that, but me and Matt are fine.
Appeared to be talking to both of y'all during the exchange.
Yeah.
Kind of well.
Listen, I love AK because AK is a guy that's very, very observant and sees everything. And he kind of, you guys know that have followed AK for a while. He's a little bit of like a lay in the weeds guy, but he sees everything. He's very, very observant. And, you know, he just was trying to be the peacemaker there. So, and he came back around and said, Riz, man, I never know you'd lose your shit on the punter like that. So, I mean, you know, he was just trying to calm me down, just trying to calm the, listen, he's a team guy, but that's kind of where we're at.
Could you talk about the athleticism from Rizzi on that block field? I mean, it was a crazy play for his size. Huh?
Phenomenal. Let's play that we started practicing. We've had it in a few times. We kind of put it in this week on Friday. We repped it a couple times on Friday, and it was kind of like we were out there on the field, and it was like we were running it, and we're like, hey, you never know. Game could come down to this, and look what happens. It just goes to show you, though, a guy at his size, the athletic ability he just displayed. And I've seen him do it all the time in practice, so I knew he could do it. You know, we were discussing on the headset, myself, Phil, Galliano, and Marwan, we were deciding on what call was the best call, and we were kind of going there. And the last ball that he had hit come out a little bit low, so I wanted to get that, you know, some pressure there in the middle. But really just an unbelievable, phenomenal job by Brian, individual effort. You know, there's some other guys there working on the play, too, to make sure he gets freed up. But you know, outstanding. And it was great to see him make a big play like that, and really game-winning play.
It wasn't just that play today either. He had a sack, a couple
And really the last couple of weeks, right? And we talked about that during the week. He's a guy that's just, I feel like his best football is still out there, and you see this flashes of brilliance out of the player between the pass rush, the field goal block. He's made a couple of huge plays a couple of weeks in a row. You're seeing a lot of the reasons we drafted the player. We drafted Brian in the first round. And so these are some of the things. We talked about some of the things he can continue to get better at, first, second down, but man, his pass rush, his field goal rush, those things have been outstanding.
Can you talk a little bit about how important the victory was in terms of keeping you in the mix at this point in the season?
Yeah, huge. I know another one of the teams at the top of our division lost again today, so that it keeps us in the mix. I mean, listen, we're down here to the end of the year. It's the middle of December already, and when you're playing games that still matter and still count and still have a chance to affect the final outcome, that's a big deal. And so here we are with 4 to go, and so as I just said to the guys, that's why we practice with a purpose. We go through the week with a purpose because we're still playing. We're still in contention, and so trying not to be a big picture guy, but it's always nice to have that out there so you can focus on the now and not worry about that, and that there's still that opportunity for us.
Now that it's over, can you say what this meant to get this win here, and were you able to hold off those emotions for most of this week or this day?
Yeah. Listen, I was able to see a lot of family and friends, phenomenal. My 3 nieces were here, cousins, friends, high school. The high school coach at Bergen Catholic was here. Bergen Catholic had a big contingency. So it's congratulations to them. Just 2 Fridays ago, they won the state championship right here on this field against Don Bosco. So another state championship for them. So it's great to see all those people, my friends I grew up with, some family. So I got a little emotional there when I came out to the field and saw all them. Out there. My immediate family, all those. So just really, really cool. And but as I said at the beginning of the week, once the game kind of started, you got to forget all that. But listen, it's I'm not going to sit here and try to BS you guys. It's to come up here in my home area and get a win on the visiting sideline is something that I probably told you would never ever happen in my life. So that's pretty wild, pretty crazy, and back to focusing on the Saints now and get back on track for next week.
Can you tell us a little bit about what you liked from Kendre Miller and his return today? Yeah,
listen, I think Kendre, again, is showing you why we drafted him where we drafted him. He made some really, really dynamic runs, I thought. Kendre has the unique ability of making an 8-yard run look really, really good. And making people miss, getting some tough yards. And again, just a small sample there. But again, the touchdown run he has where he just keeps his power. And when I talked about in the beginning of the week a change of pace back, that's really what I was talking about. A guy that can just have a little bit of a different style, and that's a big deal. We're losing Taysom. We don't become one-dimensional with Alvin. We have another guy that can get us some tough yards. And so he had a nice kick return today, right? I don't know off the top of my head how many yards, 31-yard kick return. That really nice touchdown run, some really good, make you miss. So, Kendre's got to just stay consistent. That's been his thing, right? So we got to do that again next week. We got to have another good practice week. We got to just stay healthy, and so those are the things. But you saw the flashes today of the athletic ability. That's the guy we knew we were drafting.
You've got a guy like that, and he's maybe beaten down mentally a little bit from all the injuries and all the the doghouse talk, which obviously you addressed. How important is getting on the field and actually doing it, as opposed to you can talk all you want?
It's very important. It's very important. It's very important to get out there and just show. There's you can always sit here and say, well, this and well that and maybe this and maybe that, but to actually show the proof. And that's the thing about Kendre. The times that he's been on the field for us, like today, you see it. And anybody that knows football sees it. You see a very good running back. That's what you see. And again, is he there yet? Has he reached the pinnacle? No. He's got plenty of room for growth. But staying healthy, staying consistent for him is the big thing. And actually coming out and showing it rather than just saying, oh, he looks good in practice, or he looked really good in college. You saw it today what he did. So
to emphasize, pretty much this game offensively wasn't the prettiest, however, to emphasize on that offense and Kendre and several of the other plays, you guys had 2 long drives, 9 plays, 4 minutes, 9 play, 5 minutes. what does that say just about this overall offense and just the grittiness to find success in such a ugly offensive game?
Really, those 2 long drives are the game, right? I mean, when it comes down to it, we get pinned back there on a great punt by Jamie for the Giants, and then he did a great job punting the ball today. We really they had all the field position in their favor in the first half. We obviously faked the punt near midfield, missed it by half yard, so they had good field position there. And so they did a really good job. And so when we got pinned back and we went on the long touchdown drive, man, that was a big deal. We talked all week about we have not been good coming out of halftime in the third quarter. Our first couple of drives, our first drive we had to pump it, and that second drive we go down the field again, chew up a lot of clock, have another scoring drive. And so really, although it may not have been the whole picture might not have been super pretty today, offensively, those 2 drives essentially were the ones that mattered the most. And so kudos to them. We've got to do a better job of finishing games. We get the ball back there at the end. We don't get a first down. We come up on 3rd and short. We don't get the first. We got a punt, and we gave it back to them. You get the ball back, and I think we had 2 situations today where we got the ball back with a chance to kind of end the game, and we didn't do that. So that's where we got to be better. But our defense clearly in the first half was much better than our offense and special teams, and held them to 3 points, and that's why we were in good position. So, and it put us in a really good position to win the game at the end.
When you mentioned Brian kind of turning it on the last couple of weeks, was there something that clicked for him? I mean, obviously he's had some success in the NFL before, but there's something kind of flipped for him.
I wouldn't say anything as just one particular thing. I think Brian is focusing in on the things that he can get better at. I think BY the last few weeks has opened his eyes to some technique stuff and some things that can help his game. But man, I mean, there's a young, Brian's young. I mean, he's got a lot of football ahead of him. He stays healthy, and you see the flashes. And that's the thing. There's been times where I listen. I've read the narrative. The narrative is, oh man, he flash plays and he disappears for a while, and then that's what he can't do. He's got to just be more consistent. And so the last 2 weeks, he's got a heck of a body of work the last 2 weeks. So that's the key for him and for us is to keep him where he's been the last couple of weeks and play him more consistent.
You challenge guys with narratives?
Hell yeah.
You make them aware of that?
Absolutely. One of our goals for this game this week as a team was control the narrative. All the narratives out there. We can't stop the run. We're not a good second half offense. All the things. We were 0-4 on our last 4 road games. We were 0-2 on our last 2 outdoor road games. So those are facts and narratives, right? And so my challenge to the guys this week is by your performance, you control that. And so, yeah, not only do we challenge them individually, we challenge them unit-wise, team-wise, so I think that's important. I think it's important that those guys know they can control that.
How do you challenge them individually? I know, Peyton used to find articles written about certain players and put it in their locker. There's different ways. I mean, honestly, I don't challenge every single guy the same. I'm not going to challenge AK and DeMario and Cam the same way I'm going to challenge some of the younger guys, Kool-Aid and Trevor Penning and Tally and some of the younger guys and Kendre. There's differences there. Guys that have been doing it a long time. So I think the thing you got to be creative as a coach. You got to find different ways to challenge guys, and it really depends on where they are in their career, in my opinion. Do you take things out of the Parcells playbook?
Oh yeah, I don't want to let too many cats out of the bag, but a lot of that stuff we do. But listen, I challenged Kendre all week, and I'm proud of Kendre. But now the next challenge for him is going to be can we duplicate the success and duplicate the production.